Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, January 4th, 2024. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened here yesterday. Some really good opportunities and get into our pre-market for the morning. Hope everybody had a good night, good morning here. And let's jump right in to take a look. So, as you guys can see, a bunch of trouble right in between the previous daily low and our scaffolding level till finally price broke lower, got a little bit messy in there, and then this is what we talked about in our webinar yesterday. A little bit tricky, I would say, out of the open, but then once the market started to get resistance at the VWAP and break lower, that's where the opportunities started to present themselves. Now, with that being said, buying the first roadmap level gave you a little bit of a scalp to the upside. Selling the back end of the 200 in a bearish market, right? One of our textbook setups would have given you 5, 6, 7, 8 points to the downside. But again, it was pretty messy until we finally held VWAP and went ahead and broke that low. So there were opportunities, right off the roadmap levels, but then no follow through really until that happened. So once they held VWAP, start to break lower, get the crossover, that really was probably the best trade of the day. Again, out of the open, just kind of being a renegade and buying or selling the back end of the 200 would have gave you something, but this really was the money maker. And then from there, came down. We got a nice hold right at the next scaffolding area. Again, 2 ticks in front. What can you do? Got the pop to retest the high of the day before there. And a lot of pullbacks could not get through that 51 area for whatever reason. And as you can see, it was a choppy day and messy, but still holding off the roadmap levels on a lot of these tests. So let's move this forward here to the end of the day. And again, another attempt to break out to the upside. And at that point, if you were watching, this is late in the day, so I wasn't here. But if you were watching and you noticed at the end of the day that the bulls tried again to get through the low of the day before and failed back through VWAP, well, you did get a couple really good opportunities here to either short aggressively off the FMA or wait for the pop right back. So nearly the identical setup happened, right? We got a peak above our level but failed at VWAP. And then we got the retest of the 200 on the way down. That's a textbook setup. And then nearly identical at the end of the day, the same thing happened. They came up, they tried to get through the previous daily low a little bit more, and then failed right back through VWAP. And then there's that test of the 200 nearly to the tick. So there were good opportunities. I'm not going to argue that it was like a very easy day, but there were a lot of good things you could have done. And again, waiting for the market to maybe show its face for a direction rather than just trying to trade right out of the open and no sign of where we were going might have been the play yesterday. So that brings us here to the overnight session. And again, it's been a bit of a choppy situation here. This level right here, this is going to be relevant today. So disregard that. And for the overnight, that's not relevant for the overnight. But as you can see, a pretty messy proposition in here. No way to cut it, right? There were nice holds from the previous daily close. I think that was probably the most relevant level in the overnight session here. Lots of holds trying to get above it. Then we got below it and kind of came back to kiss it to push lower, but couldn't stay down there. And then again, just super messy right now. So let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames and see what they have to say for this morning.